You know that feeling, that specific type of frustration, when you're in an argument and you just know you are 100% right.
Mm.
You've got the facts, you've got the logic, and you're still getting absolutely nowhere.
It's that dead right feeling, but the conversation is just deadlocked.
Exactly. And, my first thought is always, this person is just being stubborn, or maybe they're not getting it. But today, we're diving into a book that says the problem isn't them.
And it isn't you either.
Right. It's the lens we're both looking through.
We are unpacking Creating the Third Mind by Vivan Christman. And I have to say, this is not your typical business leadership book.
No, and the author, Christman, he's not your typical author. Usually you get, like, Ivy League professors.
Right, or some Silicon Valley guy. Christman's background is, well, it's like something out of an adventure novel.
It really is. I mean,
Yeah.
before he was a top consultant at Bain Company, he was a functionally illiterate mountain man.
Living in the Idaho wilderness.
Yeah.
He went from skinning hides and literally surviving off the land to navigating these massive corporate boardrooms.
Which honestly gives him a little more credibility for me. When he talks about survival instincts, he means actual survival.
He really does. And that background is so key to his main idea. He says that in any conflict, we get stuck in two minds, my view versus your view.
And we just fight until someone wins, or we compromise.
But wait, isn't compromise supposed to be the goal? Like, that's the mature thing to do.
That's what we're all taught, yeah. But Christman, he really pushes back on that. He calls compromise a polite lose-lose.
A polite lose-lose.
Yeah, think about it. If I want to go west and you want to go east, and we compromise by going north, well, neither of us got what we wanted.
Right. The third mind is something totally different. It's a process where our two opposing views, they combine to create a third, better solution.
Something that neither of us could have come up with on our own.
Exactly. It's synergy, but in a really practical, mechanical way.
Okay, so our mission for this deep dive is to figure out how to actually do that. Because it sounds great, but when you're in the middle of a fight and your blood pressure is rising, it's pretty hard to look for a third option.
It is hard.
Yeah.
But he gives us tools, and the very first one starts with a Coke can.
And a pickpocket.
And a pickpocket in Boston.
Let's start with the Coke can. This is like the central metaphor of the whole cloth.
It is. So just picture this. There's a table between us, and in the middle, there's a normal can of Coke. You look at it. Tell me what you see.
Okay. I see the red paint, the classic swirly white logo. It's shiny, iconic.
Right. But from where I'm standing, on the other side, I see none of that. I see a white box with the nutrition label, a barcode, all that fine print with the ingredients.
So if we started arguing about what a Coke can looks like,
You'd say it's red and has a logo, and I'd say, no, you're wrong. It's white with black text. And that right there, that's the trap.
because we're both telling the truth,
We're both right.
but we're both incomplete.
Precisely. That's what he calls our frame of reference. Our background, our experiences, our traumas. They create a fixed position. We see our truth, and we just assume the other person must be wrong or lying.
But to see the whole can, you have to walk around to the other side.
You have to combine the views, which he illustrates with this amazing story about a pickpocket.
This story, I mean, my reaction to it was so different from his. It's when he first moved to Boston for a job.
Yeah, the mountain man in the big city. So he had what his doctor called 20-point vision, just incredible eyesight.
So he sees things other people miss.
Totally. And walking through North Station, he spots these guys who aren't. You know, they're not commuting, they're watching people, they're pickpockets.
And his gut reaction is what all of our reactions would be. Fear, judgment, get away from me.
It's a survival instinct. But one night, he misses his train, he sees one of them, and instead of calling the police or just avoiding him, Christman does something radical.
He invites the guy to McDonald's.
He buys a pickpocket, a Big Mac.
Why? I mean, why would you do that?
Curiosity. He basically just said, look, I know what you do. I'm new here. I just want to understand how you see the world.
And the guy actually talked to him.
He did. And this is the frame of reference shift. The pickpocket didn't see himself as a bad guy. He saw himself as a businessman. He said, I'm looking for low risk, high reward. I'm making a living just like you.
That's a wild way to look at theft.
It is. And Christman wasn't agreeing with him, but by listening, he got this incredible insight. And the guy even gave him safety advice.
Really?
Yeah, he said, I wouldn't rob you. You walk too fast. You're too alert. But then he said, if you really want to be safe, carry an umbrella.
An umbrella.
A solid one. And he taught him how to hold it, like a weapon for self-defense. He said, If we think you know how to use it, we'll just leave you alone.
Wow. So by suspending judgment, he actually learned something that kept him safe for years.
If he'd stayed in that I'm right, you're a criminal
Yeah.
mindset, he would have learned nothing. He walked to the other side of the Coke can.
But doing that is so hard. It feels impossible sometimes because of what he calls our paradigms.
The silent scripts.
Right. What are those exactly?
Think of a paradigm as your brain's operating system. It's all the stuff you downloaded as a kid without realizing it. Things like disagreement means disrespect, or you have to respect authority.
And they just run in the background, filtering everything.
And we don't even know they're there.
Yeah.
And the book has this perfect cautionary tale about the danger of these scripts. It's about the Swiss watchmakers.
Oh, this is a classic.
It's a business school tragedy. So in the 70s, the Swiss controlled 80% of the global watch market. They were the absolute kings.
Their whole paradigm was what?
A watch is a masterpiece of tiny gears and springs and bearings. It's mechanical art.
And then their own researchers invent the quartz movement.
Yep. Electronic, battery-powered, super accurate. But the Swiss leadership, they looked at this new invention and they couldn't process it.
Because it didn't have gears.
Exactly. Their paradigm said, that's not a real watch. They didn't even bother to patent it. They just let their researchers show it off at a trade show.
And I'm guessing that's where Seiko and Texas Instruments saw it.
And it walked right in. The Swiss market share just plummeted from 80% to under 25 almost overnight.
See, when I hear a story like that, my first thought is just, how could they be so stupid? It seems so obvious.
But that's the whole point. They weren't stupid. Christman says this is just our biology at work. Our brains are designed to save energy.
Right, like climbing stairs. You don't look at every single step.
You don't. You assume they're all the same height. It saves calories. And judging something as right or wrong is the same thing. It's a mental shortcut.
So understanding someone else's point of view literally takes more energy.
It consumes a ton of glucose. Judging is easy. It's efficient. Understanding is hard work. Our brains are wired to take the easy path.
Which explains, like, all of social media. Just low-calorie judging. But we need a tool to override that instinct. And this next part, for me, was the most challenging idea in the book.
The correct decision paradigm.
Yes. This is the big one.
It's a mantra, really. You have to repeat it to yourself. People always make correct decisions
And here's the fine print.
based on their knowledge, experience, and awareness at the moment they make them.
Okay, I have to stop you there. Because I see people make terrible decisions all the time. Someone cuts me off in traffic. A coworker sends a really rude email. How is that a correct decision?
So Christman isn't saying the decision is good or smart or moral or that it won't have terrible consequences.
Okay.
He's saying that from inside that person's world at that exact moment, it made sense to them. Nobody wakes up and thinks, you know what, today I'm going to do something completely irrational.
So the guy who sent the rude email, he thought it was justified.
Maybe he thought he was standing up for himself. Maybe his last boss rewarded that kind of behavior. The point isn't to excuse it. It's to shift your own mindset from, why is he such an idiot, to what must be true in his world for this to make sense.
You go from being a judge to being a detective.
And that changes everything. He tells this amazing story about a guy named Dave Del Vecchio.
The heckler.
Right. So Christman is leading this big training, and this exec, Dave, is just hammering him, publicly challenging every single thing he says.
And Christman feels that.
Mm.
That anger spike.
Mm.
The old paradigm kicks in. Challenge equals threat.
Right. This guy's trying to undermine me. It gets even worse. Months later, Christman is speaking to the whole company, and Dave interrupts him again, publicly.
Oh, that's brutal.
And Christman is driving home, just fuming, replaying it all in his head.
We have all been on that car ride home.
We have. But then he catches himself. He applies the tool. He asks, what if Dave isn't just a jerk? What if he's making a correct decision? What does he see that I don't?
So he actually went to see him.
He went to see him the next day, not to argue, but just to ask, to understand. And it turns out Dave had totally valid points. The training wasn't tailored enough for their specific industry. And because Christman came in curious instead of defensive, Dave dropped his defenses too.
Wow.
They ended up rewriting the whole training program together. And a week later, Vivan's leading a retreat for Dave's most important team, and Dave introduces him with a hug.
That's an incredible turnaround. Just from asking one question.
He treated the conflict as data, not as danger.
I love that. Conflict is data. But let's be real. Doing that when your blood is boiling is It's incredibly hard.
It is unnatural. You're fighting millions of years of evolution. You're fighting that amygdala hijack when your emotional brain just takes over.
So how do you stop that from happening?
He calls it the understanding pause. He says emotions, like anger, they aren't weaknesses. They're intelligent signals from evolution.
A signal that what?
A signal that one of your paradigms is being challenged. Like
Right.
when you feel that spike, that's your cue. Not to attack, but to pause.
There's a great example with a manager at a new schedule.
Yeah, she rolled out this new scheduling system, and an employee immediately pushes back right there in the meeting. And the manager feels that urge to just shut him down. You know, I'm the boss, this is the schedule, deal with it.
That's the efficiency paradigm again. Just get it done.
But she pauses. She catches herself. And she just says, help me understand your concern.
And what was it?
The new start times completely conflicted with childcare drop-offs for half the team. It wasn't defiance, it was pure panic about their kids.
So if she had just crushed his dissent, she would have tanked morale.
And probably lost good people. But because she paused, they got the data. They adjusted the start times by 30 minutes, and it worked for everyone. The business got what it needed, and so did the parents.
That's the third mind.
That's the third mind in action. It's a
Yeah.
better solution because it includes more of reality.
It's all about getting more data on the table before you make a decision.
Exactly. And the book builds to this incredible, massive example of what happens when you do this on a huge scale. It's the story of gaviotas.
This one feels like something out of a movie. It's just unbelievable.
It's a real place in Colombia, in the Llanos. It's this desolate savanna that everyone considered uninhabitable, wasteland.
But one guy, Paolo Lugari, saw potential there.
And he puts together the most unlikely team you can imagine. He's got scientists and hydrologists, sure, but he also brings in indigenous Guahibo people.
And, this is the craziest part, former street kids from Bogota.
Kids that society had completely written off. Throwaways. But Lugari didn't see them as a problem. He saw their chaotic energy as a resource to be harnessed.
So you have, what, academic science, ancient wisdom, and raw street energy all in one place.
And they have a problem. They need to pump clean water from deep underground. And they've got all these kids running around with endless energy, so they invent the seesaw water pump.
A seesaw, like a playground seesaw.
Literally. A playground seesaw that's also a high-efficiency water pump. The kids would play on it, and the motion of them going up and down would drive a pump that brought clean water up for the whole village.
They turned playtime into clean water.
They turned chaotic energy into a life-saving resource. That is the definition of the third mind. It wasn't charity. It was brilliant engineering born from combining these radically different frames of reference.
It just shows this isn't about being nice. It's about solving impossible problems.
Right. And it all goes back to Vivan's own story, his personal philosophy.
The I will versus IQ idea.
Exactly. He talks about getting an F in school for cheating on a spelling test.
But he wasn't cheating.
No, he couldn't actually read the words, so he had just memorized the visual pattern of the words in order. When the teacher mixed up the order on the test, he failed.
That's heartbreaking.
He was told he had a low IQ, but a professor changed his life. He drew 2 circles on a board, one small and one big, and asked which has more potential.
And everyone points to the big circle.
Of course. But the professor said no. Potential isn't the size of your circle, your raw IQ. It's how much of that circle you decide to fill in.
You can have a huge IQ and do nothing with it.
Or you can have a smaller circle and fill it in completely with grit and curiosity and I will. The third mind is about realizing your circle, no matter how big, will always be incomplete.
You have to fill it in with knowledge from someone else's circle.
You got it.
So let's bring this all home. For you listening, what's the one thing you can do tomorrow with all this?
The challenge is simple. It's not easy, but it's simple. The next time you feel that emotional spike, that certainty that you are right and they are wrong, just visualize the Coke can.
Picture it right there on the table between you.
Picture it and tell yourself, I'm looking at the logo, they're looking at the nutrition label, and then just ask the question, what must be true in their world for this to make sense?
Help me understand.
3 of the most powerful words there are.
It seems like leadership isn't about having all the answers. It's about having the best questions.
Absolutely. The third mind isn't about being soft. It's about being effective. It's about building a future that neither one of you could have possibly built alone.
Well, I'm definitely going to try and walk around to the other side of the can this week. Thanks for diving in.
My pleasure.
And for you listening, keep filling in that circle. We'll see you on the next Deep Dive.